Hey, welcome everyone to another Sprint Car Hub Live. Toby Bellbowen here. Of course, everyone's excited tonight, not so much to watch me, but Rico, Abreu, our special guest. We're a few minutes late. We're all set up now. Really excited to do this. We did this last year, around this time last year, before Rico's trip to Perth, and it was a lot of fun. You guys had a lot of questions. We had a lot of people. I think we had over 500 people watching at once. So if you're watching on Facebook, on either the Rico page or the Sprint Car page or on the Sprint Car Hub YouTube channel, welcome along. Just a few housekeeping things. We'll get through a few questions of my own, and hopefully we answer some of yours. But if we haven't, then later on we'll make sure we read some of the comments and go through some of them for Rico to answer. We've got a few things to play as well and ask a few funny things and just go over what a huge year he's had in 2024. Some massive wins at Port Royal, Elora, Skagit. We're going to ask about Calistoga as well, which his family was heavily involved with there in St. Helena. And going over, of course, the huge WA or USA versus WA Speed Week, which will be in Perth or in WA between Perth and Bunbury. And we've got all the times and everything to watch there. And we've also got some merchandise to show off as well. So we'll quickly go to an ad break and then we'll have Rico on. Car fan, or maybe hearing about sprint car racing for the first time. Or did you just spot a sprint car and think, what the f is that thing with that thing on top? Either way, you're in the right place. I'm Toby Bellbowen and this is Sprint Car Hub. You'll want to hit subscribe because no one takes you inside the world of sprint car racing like we do. We're talking race shops, parts manufacturing, engine builders, and behind the scenes access to tracks and major events across the US and Australia. We take you inside the cars, show you how they work, and ride on board for both wins and wrecks. Plus, we bring you exclusive interviews with drivers, teams, and more. We have some no bullshit conversations and we like to have some fun too. If you want to join the chat, you can do that as well by commenting on our YouTube or live videos or by joining the community on our other social platform posts. And you also don't have to wonder where to get your sprint car racing gear because that's what sprintcarhub.com is for. Or if you can make it out to the track, you can come see us in person. So what are you waiting for? Seriously though, I don't know what else you could possibly want. Join thousands of others across the world and get closer to sprint car racing than ever before just by clicking subscribe to Sprint Car Hub. All right, there we go. Welcome, Rico. What are you doing, man?
There, Toes.
Yeah.
How's it going? I like that commercial.
Thanks, man. We need to do one for you. I appreciate it. Where are you at right now?
I'm on Aussie. I'm in Aussie soil, so I've made it to Perth yesterday. I'm at the Monty shop getting our car ready. So it's a little warmer here than it was in California when I left.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, when I was there a few months ago with you, it was bloody hot, but I guess not right now. Who did you fly with? When did you get in? Like, how was the flight?
It was a long day. Obviously Perth is on the other side of the country from where we arrived. So we flew to San Francisco to Brisbane and then Brisbane over to Perth, which was about a 5.5 hour flight after we landed. So our layover was pretty quick, and then we just shuttled our bags through and sat kind of in the middle of the plane next to Zach, who works on my sprint car, and he's a bigger guy, so he took up some of my seat, which was nice that I had someone to lean on during the flight, and we swapped seats, so he was on the window and I was in the middle and had a big pillow cushion to lean on.
I wanted to ask you, who came with you? Zach didn't come with you last year.
Yeah.
He's your car chief. Who else came with you this year?
So Brian Matherly came he was with me last year, a friend of mine from California that does a lot of business in the sprint car industry. His son, Nate, and then Zach Middlebrook. So Zach's worked on my car the last 5 years, and then Brady came last year, and Zach's coming this year. Just switched the roles around and wanted to make sure both those boys had an experience coming over to the West Coast here in Australia, and just get to do some racing and have a little vacation in between.
Yeah, a little vacation. I know last year I think you went to Bali or whatever. But I mean, ha- having spent some time with you in the States this year, one thing that stood out to me, I'm going to say this really early on, is your work ethic. And when you just said like we're looking forward to racing, I'm like, I looked at what you're doing over there. Just a couple of months I was there, and I'm like, man, that guy doesn't stop. Not just the racing side of it, but just everything else you do. Are you genuinely looking forward to racing, or are you kind of excited to kind of be away from home and just have a different environment? Do you get any sort of relaxation out of coming here, or is it just it's all work?
I mean, I look at it both ways. I think that, yeah, I just really try to manage my time. And coming over here, I take the, don't get me wrong, I take the racing very serious, but
Yeah,
it's all ran a little differently than how we run Rico Abreu Racing at home. So it's just that the concept of it is more just a time for me to, I think, enjoy, but still enjoy, the process of being at the races and stuff and with the fans. And I just, it's more so, just the weather's really nice here this time of year, and it's something to get away and do it, and go and do, and just and still be able to keep your driving craft up. I think that's what's most important is I don't sit for a long period of time over the winter and not race. And I came last year and missed the Chili Bowl, and I really enjoyed just the whole trip here in Australia, and
yeah,
being with the Monties. And it's just it was just a luxury trip almost. And with, like I said, with some racing. So I wanted to do it again. And Brian Matherly, who's helped me with the logistics of this trip, was interested in doing it all again. I think because of the success we had last year, and just the enjoyment of the overall trip. Where it's not, the intensity isn't so high. And I feel like it's going to be a little bit different this year, just with high limit, it being involved, and there's a little more money on the line. And
yeah,
it's just, I think that we all want to enjoy the trip, but we still have to race and make sure our car's prepared, because we know the dangers of this sport. And so we got to take it pretty damn serious too when we're out on the track.
yeah. Let's talk about your trip. I've got your calendar here. You, along with a bunch of others, are just going to WA. Now, I understand why, the logistics and the cost and the time frame. Is that your answer? Is that why you can only? Because I mean, there's Australian sprint car fans from all over in every state, especially where I am on the East Coast. People would love to see you in New South Wales, Queensland, Victoria, South Australia, everywhere. But there's only so much racing you can do, and I imagine this little stint in WA makes the most sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, my car's was located here in Perth. Our relationship with Luch Monty and the
Hmm.
Dowlings, and Sean Karen, and everybody's associated kind of in this team, with me. And it's just logistically made the most sense for me to just come over here and race. And I've nothing against the traveling. The trip was a
Yeah.
little long for me last year, to be honest, Toby.
Mhm.
That second half of it, I feel like I was a little wore out. But when we got to Melbourne and stuff, just from just all the traveling and racing, and it's hard. Like last year, Brad Sweet showed up like the day of his travel on. I think it was the day after, a couple days after Boxing Day,
28.
the
Yeah, yeah.
28th, and raced and won. And like I would have been, I just, like, these last 2 days that I've been here, can be very draining. So it's just with the
Mhm.
and he's in a little different circumstance, just showing up and racing. And we're on the other side of it, where the car has to get prepared. And I just feel like it's not that fair if I just drag these guys all over the country. And so I just, it's, if I really break it all down logistically, it just becomes really difficult to do. And
Yeah.
the distance to travel is really far. If you look at it for fans that don't understand how far things away are in the country of Australia. It's similar to like racing in California and then going to New York and having to be there, within a week span, and then
Yeah.
go, keep racing. So it's just, my trip was just built around coming to Perth.
Yeah, no, that's cool. We're watching some clips here. I think this might be from the heat race on Boxing Night. This is what I've put together. I think there's a crash here
I
soon
bet
on the next lap.
take
You
some
just
notes
missed this
here.
crash.
I
Yeah,
think there's the two car King Shot.
there you
Yeah,
go.
he was in
Uh-oh.
this. Trying to
Oh,
get my shit together.
yeah, that's the technical term. This is the
That was
dash.
like one of the best races of the year for me.
Yeah.
The Boxing Day and then the 28th racing with Brad. I thought some of the best racing a lot of people have seen. I think the Perth Motorsplex just puts on good racing just with the width of the track and the how the track changes throughout the night. It just allows
Yeah.
guys to be able to move around, and I think that's what's most important about understanding the racing on this side of the country. It's and the concept of it all, it just when we have the get for especially someone for like me that gets to get in my own car and feel comfortable right out the gate. I think
Mhm.
that you see me to be able to showcase that ability and the comfort level where you can just start hammering it right away. And
Yeah.
the feature where it gets so wide, and I started seventh or eighth, I think, in that night. And
Yeah.
and then got to the lead pretty quick. So it was just a good race, and a lot of the competition's so competitive here in Australia, and that's one of the reasons why I like coming over here now and racing. For this stint is one, the track is awesome, and everybody races with a lot of respect.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said that because I think for a lot of years, I imagine that American drivers, teams, or the industry over there kind of looked at Australian racing as like a maybe, or maybe didn't rate it as high. But really, I'm glad that you brought up the competition here because we've got great drivers, we've got great tracks, we've got incredible teams. I think the shop that you're in right now, the Monty shop, that's probably the nicest sprint car in the world. There's nothing that they haven't spent on that thing. That's beautiful. And yeah, I'm really glad you brought up the competition. Let's get into it. I mean, last year, let's just touch on last year. You win on Boxing Night, you're on the podium the next night after, as I said to Brad in my video with him just a couple weeks back. I mean, I wanted to cry on the 28th. That was such an awesome event to watch you be part of and put on with Callum and Brad. But yeah, you had a couple of strong runs. I think you won at Bunbury as well. Yeah, like going into this year though, how has your mindset changed? You're just racing, or you're only racing WA, and like you said, there's a lot more money on the line. Does the focus go into those 3 nights of the high limits, or is it's really important, I imagine, to try and dominate over Speed Week too?
Yeah, I'm fortunate enough to come over here with some people that are very experienced and established, in the business of racing, from, Brian Matherly to Zach Middlebrooks, who's the car chief on my car and has worked underneath Ricky Warner for the last
Yeah,
3 years. He's worked on my race car for the last 5 years. And it just, allows that experience that they have, allows the process to when we come all the way across the country to a track that one, Zach's never seen, and two, Brian's seen once,
yeah,
4 times last year.
yeah,
And we were just reflecting back on our notebook, and the things that we remembered that we shouldn't have done last year, and new things that we could have gotten better.
mhm,
And you build up to that main event on Saturday night. So I think that's going to be mostly our goal for this week. Is we have 3 times to be on 3 nights before Saturday of the high limit race, and to really trial and error and work on our car and know the direction that we want to go. And I think that's what is most important, is that you build up to Saturday. And I know it's going to be 40 laps Saturday, so you'll have to definitely pace race out. But you got to realize too who you're racing against. You're racing against all the best Australian drivers, and then you're racing against a bunch of really really good American drivers that can
Yeah.
yeah, I bet there's going to be, if there's 40 cars at the race, I bet 20 of them, 25 of them will have a shot at winning. So you have to look at just positioning yourself for Saturday, and for us it's just breaking everything down to the nitty gritty detail, and just understanding what our card needs to get better for the back half of the race. And I think that's what it's going to take to just make sure you're in position, and then once you're in position you can really be aggressive
Get it
towards the
done.
end.
Yeah. We're just watching a clip. This is just some clips I got when working with you in Eldora this year. You spoke about the big win, the big race in Perth for the high limits, 100 grand Australian to win. I mean, this year for you was incredible when you think about it. I mean, the Capitani Classic, you won here at Eldora on the I think the first night of the King's Royal, right? The night before.
Night
And
before.
yeah, and I mean, we went to where did we go after it? Your dad was insistent that we went to
Waffle House.
Waffle House. If anyone watching this has been to Waffle House, I imagine the American viewers. I'm sitting there the whole time and I'm like, I can't believe this team is here. This is where we celebrate the big Eldora win. Is go to Waffle House. But no, it was a cool memory, and you'll see at the end of this clip too. I didn't actually notice it when I was editing the reel, but you get pretty emotional too after that win. And this year for you, like I said, a Capitani Classic at Knoxville, this Eldora win, Skagit Nationals you won. I think was that 100 grand. And then you guys left there, and a few days later you're winning at Port Royal. I had gone home, but I mean, it obviously means a lot to you to win these big events, right? And to have your family there, which you'll see in this clip. What would it mean to win? Like, I'm not just saying this to pump it up, but this is the biggest race in Australian sprint car racing history. I mean, it really is. It's the highest paying by double. So if that doesn't give it some sort of context, I don't know. But I mean, it must mean a lot to the thought that you could come here and win the High Limit International.
It's it's amazing to in the last year to see things develop, and and for the Australian speedway demographic, and all the stewards and everybody work together with High Limit and bring it international to a race at a
Mm.
beautiful facility, and then on top of that race for a bunch of money. So it's exciting time for sprint car racing. Everything's being really elevated right now,
Yeah,
and that's what makes it so emotionally. It makes me very emotionally attached to the sport. Understanding how hard it is to win these races, how much work gets put in from
yeah,
the teams, and how difficult it's become to win big races, crown jewels, and
yeah,
we're starting to see more of them. As Skagit Nationals has grown, the Gold Cup has really grown in Chico,
yeah,
California. Just the Capitani Classic we won earlier this year was, at just such a prestigious race, and more so just how difficult it is. But leading into the nationals, and the growth of the Knoxville Nationals over the last decade,
uh-huh,
and then just being so close to having an opportunity to winning, the biggest race in sprint car history ever. Like,
yeah,
I feel like we keep getting closer and closer, and I've just put in a lot of work to make my team, race at that level consistently. And I just know how much it takes. And, I become emotionally attached to these events because the
yeah,
fans, at the end of the day, it's all driven around the fans. My family, as we can see in the tail being wild here, my family being at those races, them seeing, my passion for something that genuinely, has come natural to me, and I enjoy working really, really hard. I know it takes hard work to win these races, and
yeah.
that's where like I said, you see those emotions. My family doesn't get to come to many races, so it's important for me to do good in front of
Yeah,
them, so they experience. It goes a long ways for me, for my team to see my team experience those emotions for themselves as well. Just
yeah.
getting good finishes, and that's what the most rewarding part of it all is.
This is a huge team effort, and yeah, this was. I mean, I just wanted to include this in our live chat now because it was such. This is. I mean, you told me that night at Waffle House. This is the biggest win, and this means so much to you. And look at that. There's Ricky. I can't believe how hard that guy works. He's like a
Rick was
scientist.
happy.
Yeah. There you get up top.
I
This is
just
so
I
cool.
just want to, that's for my place here is just, I want everybody involved in all this to you know feel those emotions, and I feel like it's those are moments you never forget in your life, and
Yeah.
being rewarded for your hard work, and that's why we do this stuff and show up every day and put in long days,
Yeah.
and that's what it ends up being all about for me.
Yeah, you've got a very good support network. There's Megan, your mom, Ernest, a couple of sponsors there. This was the bit that I was editing
Mr.
in the
Gus,
reel, and you get a little bit choked up,
I was
and
balling.
I didn't realize. And then it's just here where you said get Toby up there, and I really appreciate that because that's what you do though, and I'm not trying to make it about me, but there you go. You point over to me, and then I stop filming. But I mean, what I'm trying to say is you make sure everyone's involved. Like I met all of those people in that clip there, and they're either sponsors or family or friends, partners, and you try. It's not just about hey, I'm going racing. Come along if you want. It's a you you have this you created this kind of movement, and it was so cool to just see it all kind of come together and to see you beat the best, I guess, all in one go. Let's go over. We wanted to show this. This is the races that are going to be on. Let me just remove
I,
that.
I, I. This is what I messaged you about being. I think it's important that
Mhm.
American demographic knows the times for
Sure.
when to wake up to watch us race, so
Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
can they watch on 7 Plus, Toby, and Clay
No.
Per View?
So
No.
So here's what I've laid out. If you want to look at those dates, so Boxing Day is the 26th, or the 1st, 2nd, 4th, 10th, and 11th. This is all for USA versus WA Speed Week, by the way.
Okay.
Uh, for those races, if you're international, so outside of Australia, it's on Clay Per View, so you can watch that live. In
And they can
Australia,
download. Can they download Clay Per View,
yeah, yeah. I
or is
think
it
I've
just
actually
subscription based?
Yeah, I don't think I have this graphic completely right. It's either on 7 or on Clay Per View in
Okay.
Australia. But just what the real point of this graphic was for December 28, 29, and 30, which is the High Limit International. That's
Hmm.
all on Flow Racing. It doesn't matter if you're in Australia or the USA. The only way you can watch that is Flow Racing. So really wanted to
Okay.
clear that up for a lot of viewers.
Cool.
Basically, if you're outside of Australia, for those 3 nights, it's on Flow Racing. If not, you're on Clay Per View. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
So, for us, it's a little bit more complicated. It's between those three, depending on which event it is, which is kind of crazy, but it's the way it all works. And then what I've laid out below are all your times. And what the coolest part is that it's all on the actual same day. So if it had started earlier, we'd have to edit these times to maybe be the day before. But basically, I mean, it's bloody early in the morning, 12:30
Yep.
in the morning for your family in California just to, just to watch hot laps and qualifying. So,
The feature
at
will be
least,
at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So, if you're on the East Coast, like New York or something like that, maybe you can get up for breakfast and watch the feature. But that'll
Ricky
be
Ricky
sort
will
of
be able to be calling, drinking coffee, saying, "Put some more bar in that thing."
your buddy Ernest does the best impression. God damn it, Ernest.
You can, yeah.
um, uh,
So,
let's go over. A lot of people ask about this, and I'm not just saying it. Is I do a lot of your social stuff, and everyone asks, "Where's your merchandise? What merchandise have you got?" Now, this shirt here you sent me. Is this the only shirt you brought for your whole Australian trip? What do you have with you?
yes. So this is the hidden picture design. I believe we
Uh-huh.
have it in black hoodie, and then
Oh,
I think gray and black or black tee. So this is
uh-huh.
the design of the shirt, and you'll be able to get it at. I think we're gonna have the van at the car or the race car in the pit area.
Yeah.
And I brought 164 scale diecast cars and hoodie, a select amount of hoodies, and then
Okay.
the hidden picture tee. And we have a little bit of stuff left over from last year, but not a lot.
Oh,
So,
perfect. Oh, you'll
but
have
this
fun.
is the main design, the hidden picture. I know my Australian fan base loves big and bright, just like my fan base in the U.S. So I wanted to bring them something, and I always get so frustrated with the online shipping rates over here, and I know
Uh-huh.
how difficult that is and expensive. So I would honestly like to one day possibly try to build maybe an online presence here of somebody
It's
handling
hard.
all that. In yeah,
Yeah.
but if I get in consistent upcoming, just say for the next 5 years in racing, if High Limit continues to be putting on races over here in the off season, then then I feel like something definitely can be structured at that level, at a high level like we run at home.
What I'm hearing is that you're coming for the next 5 years. That's what we want to hear.
I
We'll
wouldn't
see.
say no.
Man, it would be cool. Honestly, people go crazy for you. I know in these clips that I put together here, um, there was whoops, there we go. These clips that I put together here. I mean, you were so popular. You were getting mobbed at the
And
in
I
the pit the entire time.
I like that a lot about sprint car racing is the access that the fans get to
Yeah,
the teams, and I think that's really has what has separated us from a lot of other sports is
yeah,
and the respect from the drivers to the fans, and which is been a massive part of the growth in the growth period for our
yeah,
sport right now. Yes, these races are starting to pay more and more people are coming, but I think that's a big part of it is the access the fans have, and that welcomeness the fans bring, and everybody's really really excited, and they get to physically see the car and see the drivers and talk to the drivers, and
yeah,
these race haulers we have at the races. There's space to get away, where you can go up and have some quiet time before you go race if you need it. But I've really found my balance of quiet time when I get in my race car,
mhm,
and can really take some deep breaths right before I hit the gas pedal, and find my frame of focus to what needs to be done out on the racetrack, and then find my time with my team at right after the race, and to be able to dissect our car and make sure we're on the same page. But back to the access that the fans have, I think that's
yeah,
really been something powerful for what sprint car racing, and in the growth of it. And for me, I enjoy seeing the fans, and them coming down and seeing my car and making sure everybody has an amazing experience when they come up to me, and it's a comfortable environment, because obviously
yeah,
my shortness and stature and people with kids can be shy at times, and just breaking that barrier with any young person that's not understanding of me or wants to meet me but is shy. And I feel like at home my dog Gus is a great barrier for that, because they can come up and pet Gus and then
yeah,
strike a
yeah,
conversation if I'm sitting in the merch trailer or at the car. And I never want someone to meet me and have a poor experience meeting me. And I talk about that a lot, just because I feel like I've seen where people have said they've had bad experience with me, or I was rude or something, and I don't take that lightly, just because I feel like I'm not
Yeah.
really a standoffish person. You know, I feel if I'm super busy or in sync with doing something, you know, and you know, I could feel possibly like have ignored somebody, but not on purpose. You know, just so
Yeah.
because I want to make sure I'm focusing on what I'm doing. You know, especially
Yeah.
with right before we're like getting in the race car or something, or if you know I'm adjusting my drag
Yeah.
lane. So just the normals where people come up and I just am like super focused on what I'm doing, and then they feel like I'm standoffish. So I don't ever want to push someone away as that. But this is also my job too, so I have to
Yeah.
make sure that you know everything is correct before I get into my race car, and if you know there's a fan there you know being at a distraction point, then I have to you know rethink everything through and before I get back in.
You know, it's a funny one because I feel like with social media or just modern day media, which social media is such a big part of, is you get to know and have access in that way, like learn who Rico Abreu is. I know that's what Sprint Car Hub's built on is getting access and you get to learn who people are. But then in a lot of other sports, that's as far as you get. The getting to actually meet them in person, like physically be there with them and talking to them and get a photo with them is a lot harder. And like you said, with sprint car racing, you know, I can go online and learn all about Rico Abreu through his socials. And then next thing you know, when he's at a racetrack that I'm at, like there's nothing stopping me from walking up and
Yeah,
getting a photo, which is
exactly.
super
You
cool.
break that comfort barrier because they feel like they know you through that platform, and you use the social platforms as tools, right? To
Yeah.
and they, you know, we've as you've worked with me over the last year and a half here, understood how powerful you know those
Yeah.
platforms can be, especially on my end, and how serious you know I take all that in. Sending messages and educating people the proper ways. You know, in the way you want them to know, not the way the media tells people. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that it's you know these are great tools for us race teams, drivers. You know, as
Mhm.
you have Sprint Car Hub, which I have a ton of respect for what you're doing
Thank
for
you.
the sprint car world, and you know, has been a lot of you know why I've pushed the direction to you coming and helping me over the last year here. So I think it's a tool used, you know, and it's a point to educate people and to be able to break those comfort barriers with people. And when they come to the races, they already know you because they're genuinely talking to me through my platform
Yeah.
because of how close I manage all of that. And I feel like that is you know my livelihood, so that's why I take it just as serious as I take my
You
racing.
you do. You do. You really do take that whole side of it, and I don't think people probably believe it when they get a message or something back from Rico. It's you. You wrote that, and not a lot of others do that. And I wish one thing is I wish a lot of other drivers and teams actually took it serious. I mean, we can all talk about races should pay more or this or that, but at the end of the day, we need people to grow the sport away from just driving the car around in circles. And what I love working with you is you get that and you realize how important that is. And look who. Off the track, at least, you know, and even on track, the most successful driver all round is you. So hopefully we get some more questions sent through here. We got a lot of comments coming through, and we are going to get to your questions very quickly. There were a few things that I wanted to look at before we. Let me just remove that banner there. There were a couple of things before we answer your question, so keep them coming through. There's a couple of things that I wanted to look at is some fun moments that I spent over with you in the States this year. And you had a special car where this was, again, completely unique, your idea, something that you wanted to do and that you worked so hard on was have a competition where someone could have their picture, their logo on the car. And Abbott and his wife won the competition. You had the Abbott family logo on the car. And then we were taking some photos with the car in your shop, and these were the ones that never quite.
New profile picture.
Yeah, there you go. This is your, if you're ever single again, this is your Tinder profile picture. I'll just send it over to you. But no,
uh
It's a lot of fun.
Thi- this was, a fun project, and it was really something that, the heater wave, heat wave, the gentleman from New Zealand that designed some
Oh,
really, really
heater.
good
Yep.
cars.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
he sent this over like, I wanted to do something like with some splashed wine or red wine, and
Sure.
to a connection to my family's business in the Napa Valley and our ties to the Napa Valley, and and just more so, my family supported me in my career for the last, my whole life, obviously, but racing seriously for the last 15 years. So, I
Mhm.
wanted to do something unique and special. And I think that draws, a lot of excitement for the fans that are coming to the races to get to see, the Red Wine Express race. And we're
Yeah.
now working on a diecast car, and it's a new,
Oh,
like, just direction for marketing for Megan to do cool merchandise designs, and these artists in our industry become so creative with all these cool t-shirts. And the fans, when they purchase something from us, they're getting something genuinely special. And I think that
yeah.
is the understanding for us, and the direction for us is, when they come and have that experience at the races, and then they buy a really, really cool t-shirt, and they're proud, they're a proud Rico Abreu fan wearing it, to their
Yep.
local, their little league, their kids' little league baseball game, or their kids are wearing all their cool new racing shirts to school. And that just the excitement that creates is what's,
Yeah.
intriguing to me, and what I like, and want to take the direction of my brand when, people come and get to see us race, and then they support us, and then the Vineyard Views contest to the Knoxville Nationals contest. And that's just
Yeah.
giving my fans an opportunity to be a part of my race team, other than just purchasing merchandise. And we sold spots, and the Abbott family from Ohio won. And I don't even know if they were really Rico fans, but they seen the contest and how exciting it was. And in the beginning, and then to just build a friendship with him over the last year now.
Mhm.
Ian and his wife Faith came to the Kings Royal before the Knoxville Nationals, and they came to Portsmouth, when High Limit was there, and not far from their home. And I won, and just for them to come in and experience those moments, just became really incredible. And then, we created this cool design, with the state of Ohio, the logo
Yeah.
outlining Ohio, just because they're very passionate 4-H. Their kids showed livestock. Ian's a volunteer firefighter, so we got a fire hard hat on the state
Yeah.
of the town where they live in the state, and just got really creative with it. And I gave them a wing board, and had their logo on a bunch of shirts. So just that time of the process of doing all that is really what's intriguing to me. And it takes a lot of work, and you don't always know if these things are going to work out, but you see, just, it's for me just being different, and I want to be out in left field, and people think I'm probably crazy, but I just enjoy the process of it all.
I just the only reason I think you're crazy is how hard you work. Everything that you just said is 100% true. That is all you. You. I mean, you got other people involved, like myself and Ernest, to help make things happen. But I mean, you're so hands on with driving this and making it happen. And at the end of the day, if you weren't, it wouldn't be happening. So. Um, that's why I'm excited for you to actually look at Australia and go, I want to be there. I want to race. A couple more things before we go further is a lot. We put out some questions beforehand a question for asking for more questions. And I did see someone asked about Calistoga Speedway. Now, you live in St. Helena. The Calistoga Speedway is probably, I don't know, 20 minutes or so from your place. It's been shut down for a few years. Your family was heavily involved. I put together a video which yourself and your dad were featured in about bringing it back. I know things have changed since then. Can you give us an update at all on where that's at and what you think about the
I
situation?
I just seen that they're racing, they're where they scheduled a race for next season, which
Uh-huh.
is really, really exciting, because it is like the most beautiful. racetrack in the world, like scenery wise, like in the mountains, in the middle of, in the heart of wine country, was one, in this little valley that's 32 miles long, and it's on the north end of the valley,
Yeah.
in beautiful Calistoga. And what's really cool about Calistoga is just how involved the community is with the fairgrounds. I know it's a shame that in 2019, the facility closed, and then the setbacks from COVID, and then there was some mismanagement with the fair board, and my
Sure.
father and Rich Stadelhofer and Dennis Watson and the Gilotti brothers, they put in this big effort, and a bunch of people from the community to bring the facility to the next level back, from 2012, I think my dad, or 2013, my dad, they all got involved, and there was a
Mhm.
good 5 years run there, where they
Yeah.
got this place just unbelievably beautiful, and just to the detail of things, and repainting things, and repainting, and everybody was just involved with the scoreboards and the catch fence, the surface of the track, and with the fairgrounds closing down, and there was a sale from the county to the city, so now the city controls, and I don't think there's a fair board anymore, but they need to start, generating revenue there. And so like I said, I see there's a race, I think Labor Day weekend, and it's against
Okay.
the Skagit Nationals, which is a shame that I won't be able
Mm.
to go back and race at Calistoga in 2025. And
Yeah.
so it's just, with the conflict of high limit, being up north, and which
Sure.
I don't know why they would have scheduled. I think they wanted that Labor Day weekend, and I see it's NARC. So just, another one of those, um, not,
Scheduling things. Yeah.
yeah, it's just, everybody wants a race, and then they want it on the prime weekend. So I think
Sure.
and if it's just, it's a shame that it gets to that point. But yeah, and all it does is just take away from people, that really want to race there, and that have other obligations, can't go.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
But
I appreciate that update.
there's, I honestly wish them the best. I know, a lot of fans are excited to go there and watch racing, and I hope that they can continue to bring that place back and make it look beautiful again.
Yeah, going out there. I went years ago when there was racing on, and then to go back this year and check it out. It was sad, and to go out with your dad, that was a special thing, and hopefully not just for you guys, obviously, but for the whole town, we can see it come back. Now, one thing before we get into the comments, I mean, I've got questions that you guys have. Is okay. So last year you raced on Boxing Day, and then you raced on the 28th. But we drove out to where your car was kept, and we. This is pretty funny because no one's ever
You
seen
just
this.
keep putting more. All my photos have been embarrassing so far.
It's so good. It
You're
was honestly.
grandstanding me.
Yeah, on the spot, but people are gonna like this. So we went to film a skit. Now you might have seen on your socials, there was a photo with me with a wig on. I was meant to be,
Cracking, mate.
yeah, crikey. We were trying to get you to say it right. There was Terry Irwin. I was Toby Irwin. You were Rico Irwin, and we went to film a skit. Now it didn't quite come out the way that I had hoped, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna shelve this for now. But I thought we put this tiny little clip together, and it only goes for a few seconds. But I thought it'd be pretty funny to watch.
Oh
Here
boy.
we go. There's you jumping out, crikey, and then here comes the croc. There you go. You're
You're-
such a you're such there you go. You're such a good sport.
Yeah,
That
we
was cool, man. That was funny. That's the thing though, is with you is you want to do any sort of promotion or make something work. You're fully into it. And I came up with that idea. I got the gear. I still got the hat. Uh, and it was a lot of fun, man. So let's get into some of the comments that people have here because we've had you on for 45 minutes now, and I'm sure people have questions. Are you good with that?
yeah, no dramas.
All right, let's see what people have. People are laughing. I did see one guy said that you need to put that photo of you in the workshop with the Uh, you need to put that on a shirt. So maybe that's something you can look at. How many
What,
different
what,
shirt designs do you do a year?
I want to say we're around, like, I just general items, design different options, around 50 probably. I couldn't
Wow.
tell you the exact number of maybe a good
Yep.
25 shirt designs. It's
Yep.
it's difficult. We could put in a lot of effort to, making sure
Yeah.
that these designs are right, and it takes time. So Megan does a lot of that stuff, and I just focus on getting people to the trailer.
Yeah. No, you do a good job. All right, let's pump through some of these questions. This is a good one and one that I actually had. Question: how do you guys get your cars to Australia, or are they built in Australia? Now, the reason what I was going to ask is, you shipped another car to Australia again this year, right?
Correct. So in August, right before the Knoxville Nationals, we had our car delivered to Kading Performance in California. So a gentleman drove it from our race shop to in Brownsburg in Indianapolis to
Hmm.
San Jose, California, and then It got a semi shows up with a shipping container, and they basically you get space in this container for your car. And
Hmm.
I put some merchandise in there this year, and all these team owners in Australia split the space up, and then they pay for the shipping container to come to Perth. I think one
Yep.
goes to Perth and then one goes to Melbourne or something. And I rented some space, or Luch Monty helped me out with some space with his stuff, and that's how my car went. So it left like before the Knoxville Nationals, and it showed up like 4 days ago. I think the
Wow.
14th. So it showed, I guess, a few days ago, 10 days ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Wow. Still
yeah,
not much.
I was at home on the 20th, and it showed up like on the 16th. So.
Callum asks, what are Rico's plans for late January after his trip to Perth? Now, you got married in January of this year, right? So what are you doing yeah, after? Because I think some guys go on a chili bowl. You could make chili bowl, but you're not, right?
I could make chili bowl, but I'm gonna stay, a couple extra days here in Perth and
Nice.
spend some time with the Monties and Sean Karen. I want to go to Margaret River, and go look at a few different wineries, and
Nice.
bring
Yeah.
some wine home for my dad and brother to try.
Yeah, yes. I wish I put some graphics or a clip together, because I do have some footage of you picking berries, I guess, grapes, I should
Grapes,
say,
yeah.
with you. Sorry, I sound like an idiot. With your brother, and you really are into all that. And I imagine if you weren't racing, you would be more in. Here's one from Ross. This one's a good question. Rico, what's your thoughts on J Mac not racing full time in the USA now?
I mean, I feel like J Mac's a really, really good driver that's really successful in both Australia and US. And I think that the schedule just becomes really grueling. And I spent a lot of time racing with James this year, and he traveled, in a motorhome to 95% of the races with his wife and son, Mavo. And I think that that just can become grueling at times with the schedule of racing so many races in the
Yeah,
US. I think James did it amazingly. It just is a lot to do, and I do it, and I stay in hotel rooms, but just any complications with your motorhome breaking down, and that puts you on tight schedules. And I think that just stuff is, I applaud James for what he's done the last decade in the U.S.
yeah,
coming, and his family's in, majority of his family's in Australia, and you're away from those people for a long time. And I was here for 30 days last year, just over 30 days, and I missed my family, and that's why I'm not coming for the whole swing this season over
yeah.
here, because I just, it's hard to be away from people for that long. So people that you're close to and that are in your everyday life. And so, I respect James for the decisions that he's doing. I don't think that he's not gonna, continue to race in the U.S. I can
Yeah.
see him coming over, and because he's way too good not to, and
Yeah.
have chances to go win the big races.
Yeah. No, I'm sure he'll be back over there for a bit of a stint. Maybe just avoid getting wrecked by Brad every second night. Um, I'm
Just gotta
kidding.
wreck him back.
Yeah. No hesitation. All right, we'll go through some of these. Where would you like to see high limit race in Australia? Is there anywhere else?
I mean, they could go to. Is there's a new track in Sydney, right? Is there a new track
The
in
one
Sydney?
in Sydney's been here for a couple of years, but there's Tolma, which is a replica of Peevely, which is
That's the. I just watched a video and it was like on the fence.
yeah,
Was that it?
they haven't raced there yet. So I imagine it
Uh,
might have been Sydney. Sydney's been on the fence.
Sydney.
Unfortunately, they've
Yeah,
had a bit of dust and stuff, but the racing is
man. I
mint.
hope
Like
they don't go to anywhere in Ohio and complain about the
yeah,
dust.
I know. That's the definitely. I think. Where did I go?
It can't be
Not
worse
Lime.
than that.
Yeah, I'm trying. Oh, have you been to Hilltop? Did you ever race there?
I don't think so.
No. That was the dustiest I've anyway, that was in Ohio. That was back in about 2012. I went to Ohio Speedway. Let's have a look. Is the livery going to be the same as last year? I imagine that's this year's car or the Australian trip or what's your car going to look like back in the States as
It'll
well?
um it'll be the Red Wine Express. I feel like
Okay.
my fans deserve a full year, and then um
Yeah.
I have possibly two special paint schemes maybe
Nice. There you go. All right.
in the
Cool.
play.
Bit of a scoop. Well, I look forward to hopefully seeing them. Um, this one, just quickly, like, how do you see your driving style is different to the driving style of, say, Kyle and Brad? Like, I'm
I
sure there's
think
a lot of similarities.
Brad, and I have similar driving styles. And Kyle, I think the difference between Kyle is that he can drive all 30 laps like on the edge, which gives
Mhm.
you that he gets that advantage like right away. When I feel that like I more focus on getting to the end of the race and can jeopardize like losing spots in the beginning, which doesn't allow me to be like positioned at the end at times. So
Mhm.
I mean, Kyle's definitely a lot more aggressive and manhandling the car than I feel I am, and can get more out of the car when the balance is off a little bit. When I feel like my window of getting my car right is a lot shorter, just with my stroke and arms and stuff, and how
Okay.
I handle racing, where the setup I feel is more focused on like my windows way tighter.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk to you about this sort of stuff all night. This is the stuff that I find the most interesting. But is that? I guess that's more of a race management sort of decision. How you manage a race compared to say Kyle or Brad or anyone else. Do you think? I mean, obviously everyone's pretty impressed by how Kyle races. I imagine, like you just said, his style or choice, if you will, of going for it on the edge for 30 laps. Is that something that you choose sort of not to do or doesn't work for you? Like, or you don't? Yeah. What is
I
the
feel
reasoning
like
behind?
I used to be like that like earlier in my career, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I was crashing out of a lot of races. So then I shifted to like more focusing on like getting my car right and positioning myself, and then
Yeah.
focusing on the last 10 laps of the races. And yeah, I try to kind of stay in that mentality, and not pressing, and more so just going on runs of like consistent finishes, and then when
Mhm.
you're in position to win, you take those wins. And I that's my direction of where I want to be for the longevity portion, of my racing career.
Yeah, I remember you spoke about that last year, the whole longevity thing, and we spoke about that on the live last year. How you've really changed your style of racing, and it's probably something that people forget about. Is you've you've actually managed to get completely out of that and change who you are. And this year, I mean, look at the races you won and the way you drove. All right, let's go. That's my opinion anyway. Let's have. We just had this comment. This is the guy I was parked next to when I went to
Hilltop was
Hilltop.
a shithole.
So, so Marty was racing at Ohio Speed Week, and I was with Cap Henry, and it was so dusty and dirty. It was honestly, it was you couldn't see the cars at all. I remember Cap was in the dash, and we're like, "Where'd you finish?" We didn't see it. We couldn't tell.
If you get like Wayne County, if you get on like fifth on back, you cannot see like the car in front of you.
Yeah. What seriously, it's incredible how dusty some are. That's Ohio for you, but not ripping on Sydney either. I mean, they've got dust problems, they've got surface problems, but I mean, they're racing there.
The
Marty
track
actually
looked
does.
awesome. The video I seen.
Yeah. I mean, no one wants dust, but at the same time, the racing, it's like, oh my god, this place has been opened up. Everyone's like, oh, I never thought it could race that good. It's awesome. All right, let's look at some other questions. I'm trying to mix them up because sometimes they double up a little bit. Here we go. We've got one from Bree Miz. If you could race something else, what would it be?
I would like to drive a probably a late model, like at Eldora or
Wow.
Bulls Gap. Yeah, I think that or
Yeah.
late models are very like fascinating and the style of racing. I
Uh-huh.
just it would be really fun to, I feel that they are like more of like a stomp and steer style racing, and like where you gotta get like where the when your right rear comes around, you lift to unload the car and then you smash back to it. But it
Mm.
looks like just like it'd be a lot of fun to hammer one of those boats around there.
One of those boats. You know what? I drove a late model once we did a promotional thing with footballers where we drove them around at Parramatta, and I drove a late model that day, and it really did feel like a big, if maybe not a boat, it felt like a bed. I felt like I was just rocking
Tugboat,
along. It was
like a
yeah, it was
waterbed.
yeah, it was a different driving style. Um, let's have a look. Is Port Royal your favorite track in PA?
Port Royal and Lincoln Speedway are both my favorite tracks in PA.
Lincoln seems a little how do I put
Lincoln,
this?
I
Like
like. It
unorthodox.
reminds me a lot of Tulare.
Yeah, like
I
stop
always
start.
seem to like race good there.
Okay. Yeah. And it's like a paperclip.
Yeah, similar.
I didn't realize until I actually went to Tulare in person with you this year. I was like, oh wow, it's not like that. It's really like it's like the shape of a Williams Grove, just really small. I didn't
Smaller
realize
Williams
that.
Grove with some
Yeah.
banking. If Williams
Yeah.
Grove had banking, it would race really good, but
Yeah.
they don't seem to like figure that portion out of it. Like just
Yeah.
progressively bank to the guardrail, and
Yeah.
but it ends up being okay because you just race to like the crown, and then you got to go back down to the bottom.
Yeah. There you go.
It's whoever
That's
does it
actually
figures it out fast enough.
That's actually really, like I said, I could talk to you about the technicalities and stuff. I love hearing that stuff from the drivers, just like I much prefer watching onboards from our videos. Where there's someone here, Steve Coates. Rico, you're always welcome to come out to the Yarra Valley and try our wines. I know
Cool.
you'll do that. What else we got here? We've been gone for, oh geez, 59 minutes, so we're getting through it. All right, so what are some questions we got? I like this one. How do you handle the pressure of being a fan favorite driver?
I feel like we talked a little bit about this earlier, and just the balance as drivers, and for me, the main thing is the fans having an incredible experience at the races, and never allowing a fan to leave, from a conversation of with me, or that just that approachlessness where it's very comfortable. And I find my quiet time when I get in the race car, and want to make sure that all the fans are very very happy when they I have an incredible, present an incredible, have a credible and presentation for them when they come down to see my car and stuff. And I feel like, to me, it's no pressure. I feel like I'm harder on myself that if I don't do good for the fans, because for me, I want to do good for them.
Yeah, it's obvious. I was there one night with there was a couple of nights at Eldora that didn't pan out, and you I could tell you weren't happy, but you still stood there and signed every autograph. I showed the clip before. The lines you have is incredible, and you really do make that part of the experience. Okay, so we've been going for an hour. I've got a text from a friend over in WA, and they said, "Hurry up with Rico. It's 41 degrees here, which is about 110 Fahrenheit." So I know
Everybody's ready.
you're sweating bullets. So I
Gotta
won't keep
keep
you much
moving.
longer. Yeah. All right. We'll just answer probably two more, if that's okay. Rico, do you miss running NASCAR?
No,
No. There you go. And
I'm a
this
sprint
one,
car guy.
there you go. This is the one I want to know is, would you ever race on the east coast of Australia? I know you have a couple of times, but we need you back, dude.
Yeah, I
I'd
mean,
love,
I'm
love
never
to have
gonna
you.
not. I'm never gonna not. Come back. It's just logistically it's got to make sense.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, and it could be next year, it could be the following year. It's just this year we put all of our effort into WA Speed Week and the high limit race, and and we're just gonna focus on what's here right now, and possibly put something together for the following season. I was
Perfect,
kind of
man.
enjoying you wearing that hat. I mean, you look good wearing it.
Well, if that's what you want me to wear, I'll whatever you want. Sounds kind of kinky, but man, hey, thank you so much for doing
Yeah,
this. We've
no
been going for an
dramas.
hour and 2 minutes. No drama. You reminded me. So Rico learned that off what Luch when you were over here last year.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
right?
Everything
No
Luke says,
dramas.
no dramas.
We're, we're driving around in your truck getting Starbucks and everything's no dramas, no dramas. I love that. You're actually, it's part of your language now. That's what you
They're
say.
slang now.
Yeah, there you go. That video that we filmed on the 27th of you wrestling a croc. That was the that was when we also filmed the skit of you learning some of the lingo and guessing what it was. So
We
maybe
need
one day I'll
to post that this trip.
we need okay. I'll put it together and work on that. It was
We'll just
funny. And you
send it.
tried Vegemite. We'll
It'll
send it.
be good. It'll be good.
I said here, try Vegemite.
Most views.
It's the Vegemite's better when you load it up with heaps of it and you're like, this doesn't taste good. It was
Not at
funny.
all.
All right. We'll wrap things up, man.
Thanks, Stokes.
Thank you so much to spend time with you this year. I learned so much with you of how sounds corny, but caring and understanding and just your work ethic, going to bed at 3 a.m., getting up at 7:30 in the morning and not stopping. You're so hands-on with everything, the race team, the running of it. I was just, I got to ride passenger and just watch it all. And it's honestly, I'm not just saying it here. I know last year in our live video, you gave me a pretty cool rap, and I just wanted to point out to everyone that, there's no one bigger than you in every sense. Even the stuff you touch on about your stature and that, I love the way you attack it and are open about it. And honestly, I mean this, and I've said it to other people. Being around you this year has made me want to be a better person with how you go about things. And I care so much about Australian sprint car racing, and to have you come over here and choose to be a part of it. I just want to say thanks on behalf of everyone else, and thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, no dramas. Thank you.
All right, man. I'll let you go.
Okay, bud. I'll see you in a couple days.
You will. See you, buddy.
See you.
There you go, guys. That was Rico. Hopefully, you guys really enjoyed that. I always enjoy chatting with him. What you see is what you get with Rico, and honestly, the stuff he did this year that I've seen and the work he does is it's really cool. And to think he's part of sprint car racing, and someone asked there, I think it was Narelle, do you miss NASCAR? And I'm so glad that he's a sprint car racer, because we need him. And to think that he's here in Australia racing, I mean, I can't wait to see what he does at over in WA. I know there's a lot of people that aren't particularly happy that there's certain drivers aren't coming to certain tracks, especially on the East Coast. Hey, I'm from Sydney, and unfortunately, car counts are down and stuff like that. But it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're down for the Southern Speed Week or up in Queensland, Avalon on Boxing Day, or over in WA. It's going to be an awesome time. But if you guys have any more questions, I'll be here for maybe a minute or two longer. I can answer anything that you want. But looks like a lot of you enjoyed watching that. Yeah, go support Rico, like most of you do. I know you do. But yeah, is Rico going to Toowoomba for the? No, he's not going for the Red Hot Summer Shootout. I'm gonna make sure I get him there one day. Don't worry about that. We'll make him there. I'd love to see Rico around Toowoomba. That would be cool. What else have we got? Thanks, Toby, for the video, and thanks, Rico. Yeah, if it was just me, it probably wouldn't be anything special. But here he's the man. So the racing is all independent out there. I assume this is a question from the States. Yeah, it's all very there's no, that's what you're asking. There's no national series. Not right now. I know there will be one day, hopefully. I want to make that my mission, is to have a proper national schedule. What else have we got here? Are you planning on having any other? Where was that? There we go, Alan. Are you planning on having any other drivers on? So I had Brock Zierfoss on Friday. We had Rico on now. We've got 4 days until we fly to Perth. We've got Christmas in 2 days. I've got a lot of other stuff that we've got to try and put out. Let me know. There's 2 videos that I really want to get out. One is how to watch everything, and I will make sure I get all that right. I've got it all written down, and that's between the 4 different streaming partners. Doesn't matter where you are. I've got it all written down, where and how you can watch now. That's one video. And another video that I really wanted to get out was the differences between the Australian and the American sprint cars. Once you look at all that, you're like, oh my God, these cars could be so different because the rules are written so differently. The way they measure things or what they specify, it's a lot more work than putting that video together than I realized. But I think that's something that's really important for both American and Australian fans to watch. So let me know which one of those videos that you guys would prefer to see first. But we only have a few days until we go away. So hopefully we can make it all work. We're going to do lots of content for the high limit race while we're there, and we fly back New Year's Eve. What's this question here? We got a few questions still coming in, so I'll stay for another minute or two. Are you going to bring back the onboard GoPros? Yeah, we try and find a mix. I mean, when we go to Perth, we got to ask ourselves, what do you guys want to watch? Do you want to watch onboards? Do you want to see an interview with Kyle Larson or Corey Eliason or Gio Selzy or Justin Whittle? Or, what do you want to hear? Do you want to hear from the track promotion or the commentators? I get along with Chase Rodman and Tony Laporta and Brian Walker, who does their social media. There's so many different things. There's Mikey Rimmer at the Perth Motorplex, who does the track prep. There's Gavin Migro. When you ask, are we going to show the onboards? It's like, we constantly ask ourselves, what do you guys want to see? And hopefully we pick the right things that we put out. And we're going to be putting out a video each night. We're going to be doing stuff with Rico, and Jock Goodyear as well. So there's a bunch of stuff. That's another thing. Do you guys want to hear from the Aussies? Do you want to hear from the Americans? We don't want to neglect anyone, and we want to make sure we get it all right. There you go. Turn 1 onboards, Callum Williamson. Yeah, he'll probably knock it out of the way where he's up on the wall. He's the man. I can't wait to see how you go, Callum, in a few days' time. I'll be at home watching on Boxing Day, but then we'll come over the next day and then be there in time for the 28th. Maybe we need to come to... I think your shop's probably too far away. I can't remember. But maybe we'll go there. Any Sprint Car Hub cowboy hats coming? Maybe in time. We actually have another hat launching, but that'll be around Classic Week. So there's a bit of a scoop. Who do I think's going to win? I okay, so I was going to make a video on this too. You got to lay out. Now, I've got it written in my notes somewhere. I'm not going to look now. But the variables. Have they been to the track before? Are they in their own car? Have they got, a good crew chief that they've worked with? What are their results there? What are their recent results? Like, what's their form like? How many laps is a race? What's the format like? All the, the conditions, are they good on a heavy track where they're a throttle stomper, or is it going to be slick? Those sort of things, or the format for the high limit race. Does it really get broken down that you need to be performing every time you're on the track? Is someone that consistent that they're going to be at the front? To answer your question, the one that stands out to me is an Australian, and it's Jock Goodyear, because he's been successful there before. He's in his own car. His form is great. He's got a great crew chief that he's worked with for a long time. His race management is incredible, which I've always said he and someone like Marcus Dunsany do a great job with. So those are the sort of things that I think is what's going to win a race. So what else we got? That's my answer. What else we got? Who do you guys think is going to win the high limit race? I think everyone's going to be paying attention to it. I know that I'm going to be tired after it all. Are you going to the 360 15K to win at Simpson? I went this January and I had a blast at Simpson. We'll have our merchandise van and our Sprint Car Hub fan station. So if we can bring that, I'd love to be there. They got me on the mic and I chatted throughout the feature and stuff like that too. The guy, I can't remember his name. I think it started with a D. I can't remember, but he was so kind, the president of the club there, and very welcoming and walked me around. And I'd love to go back to Simpson. I feel like it's, for some reason, you guys there's only limited races there. And I'm like, this place is as good as anywhere else. Text me when you land. That's Frank Scarterfield, who's very accommodating when we come to Perth. And we truly, honestly couldn't do what we do without that. What else? Someone just said, I think Marcus will be on a mission. I'd love to see Marcus get back into form. We'll see. But I'm looking forward to seeing. There's so many drivers. We counted 166 cars are nominated for Boxing Day across all of them. Now, let me just find in my notes here, in my socials. We're going to make a graphic and show this. Now, there are 37 cars for Perth nominated. This is Boxing Day. Murray Bridge, there's 39. Avalon is 34. Carrick in Tasmania, there's 9. Sydney has 22. Although they closed today, and Toowoomba has 25. There's 166 410 sprint cars that are racing on Boxing Day. That's pretty cool, if you ask me. All right, I'm going to answer a couple more questions, and then I promise I'm going to end this. What else we got? A lot of people saying Larson will take the dollars. Rico, Sweet, or Larson. Rico or Larson. J-Mac or Rico. J-Mac's going to be tough. I'm again, as I'm not really I don't have as people ask me who's my favorite driver. I just enjoy watching anyone. It's a bit hard to have a favorite. Sure, there's people that you get along with better and you get to know more, but I just fascinated to see how a lot of them go. King Shot in the 2, the number 3 of Callum Williamson, who was there. He's just like you guys. He's a race fan. Do you know the numbers of Americans coming to the Classic? You can work it out with everything that we put up. I'm not going to go through them right now, but I think it works out that there's 15 Americans coming now because Parker Price Miller is pulled out. And I think there's another one, Kerry Madsen, for the high limit race. It's going to be fascinating. But I think I think there'll be like half of that will be racing at the Classic. So no event has every American that's coming out. And really, it rarely does, by the way. So don't be too bummed by that. The Classic's going to be great. Don't worry about that. How do you like the West Coast swing with the high limit last season? Is that the West Coast swing? Yeah, that I did in California. Honestly, I had a blast. California, I didn't go to Oregon. I went to Washington. Honestly, it was a blast. Will you ever come to Maryborough? I drove all the way 16 hours to Gladstone back in September after I got back from the States. And this was after Darwin, and I stopped at Maryborough and put the drone up and got some shots, and I would love to see some racing there. That track is by far the most round track that I've ever seen. It's not like that. It's like proper, I don't know how to show it, but it is properly, like, it's hardly has any straights. I met you in Placerville. I met a lot of people. Oh, I think I remember meeting you. Yeah, I met so many people. It was great. Thank you. What else we got? Have you been to New Zealand? I've been to New Zealand when my dad raced a midget and my brother raced go-karts, but I haven't been there for Sprint Car Hub, and we get asked all the time to come over, and we need to work something out to do it. All right, this is going to finish up. I just realized we're still on Rico's page too. So thank you, everyone that's watched this. I've really enjoyed doing it, as we always do. Rico was a lot of fun. Hopefully we can do some more with drivers soon. But you're going to see a lot of content coming up on Sprint Car Hub soon. And the reason we're able to do it all is because of that ticker down the bottom here, because of our merchandise that we've just launched over on sprintcarhub.com. These shirts with the logo on the front, these new hats, which everyone seems to love. Thank you for everyone that jumps onto sprintcarhub.com and grabs their merchandise. Until then, you will hear from us very soon. I'm going to work on a couple of videos before Perth, and then we will see you over in Perth making some cool content. So make sure you're following along to Sprint Car Hub on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, and definitely subscribe over on YouTube. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone.